Alan, may I make a point?
Yeah,
before
sure.
your Questions? I want to make 2 points. And one of the points that I heard Beth mention it, but that's really important in terms of strategy is what do you want your audience to do? And that is core to your strategy. So the first thing when you're planning a strategy is what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Who do you need to do what to accomplish it? You know, because as we're doing this presentation, it sounds like all we're asking people to do is like and share and retweet. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to create groundswell of support for whatever it is that you're trying to do. And every time you start to develop a property or to look at a new tool, you should be asking yourself, how is this helping me meet this goal? So that's just, and then the second thing that I want to say, we haven't talked about tools. Riche, who is a genius, by the way, and the best PowerPoint person that I know, sorry, is really great at talking about tools and saying this is how, these are the metrics that we're looking at, and also Adam touched on it a bit, but we have such unbelievable metrics to churn on a moment. I come from the time when my clients used to spend $3 million on advertising to get, it's like a shotgun, and now with $5,000 I can drive a community of 60,000 people. You know, so we have tools that allow us to really target and really see what's working. No, we can't guarantee something's going to go viral, but if we know what we're asking people to do, we can immediately look across platforms and see whether they're responding. So.
Yeah, I think metrics is really an important thing, and we'll probably devote an entire session to metrics in the next few months. But and Beth and I are actually preparing some trainings for Riche and I also, the three of us, different venues, we're preparing some trainings on metrics. But the big thing I want to warn you about metrics: don't focus on the things that are easy to measure. Just because they're easy to measure doesn't mean that they're the right metrics. It's really easy to measure how many followers you have on Twitter, but it's usually not a very useful measure because a lot of people may follow you and never pay attention to you.
Don't be a newt.
So don't be a newt. That's I wrote a piece, an article with a couple colleagues last year about how Newt Gingrich, who had 1.4 million Twitter followers, half of them hadn't tweeted in over a year, half of them didn't live in the United States, and about 0.75% lived in New Hampshire and Iowa. Not very useful for a presidential campaign if you really think about it. And yet he had 1.4 million followers, and everybody was very impressed. Don't fall for that trap. There are metrics involving focusing on engagement, the degree to which people are sharing your stuff, feedback, and click-throughs to your site, which are really, really key. Beth is often fond of indicating that the downstream on Twitter, you get up to 10 iterations of people retweeting you, and to know who those people are and why they're retweeting and who they're retweeting.
But again, make your metrics measure what you want
Right.
people to do, not just impressions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I'm sorry to keep going back to that.
No,
There-
it's really important.
Yeah, I think if you look at metrics in 2 buckets, right? There's optimization metrics and there's business metrics. There's business metrics are what I think you're talking about, which are really, you're trying to drive home some action, whether it's people to sign a petition, whether it's people to make a contribution, whatever. Ultimately, you have some hard number that actually proves whether you hit your goal. But then there's also this other bucket of optimization metrics, and I think we often kind of dismiss like likes and shares because really we can get too hung up in that. But from a mechanics standpoint, they do matter in that platforms like Facebook look at likes and shares to help figure out what brand content will actually show up in somebody's newsfeed. If your content isn't actually getting engagement, especially from you, so as an example, if Beth, if Beth is not clicking on liking or sharing any content from, say, the Foresight Studios Facebook page, that content over time is not going to appear in her newsfeed. So ultimately, what you want to do is really focus on, although they are kind of not necessarily extremely important in terms of driving business metrics, you do want to also try and drive as much engagement as possible, because otherwise your content is not going to be seen by your audience.
And go ahead. I just wanted to address one thing about that, and that is, and Alan and I have been talking about this a lot lately, and we'll be talking about it even more in the next couple months. Is it's not just about how engaged is your audience with you. It's about how engaged are you with your audience.
Yes.
So when I work with clients, I literally give them 2 numbers for every platform every week. How engaged is their audience with them? How engaged are they with their audience? Are they talking to people and having conversations? Are they liking other people's posts and comments? Are they sharing other people's content? In order for people to be generous with you, you need to be generous with them. And so it goes back to the same thing that I usually start every training I've done for the last 3.5 years. And it's simple. It's called social media. If you're not going to be social, go build a better website.
And think about this. If you're running a fundraising campaign and your goal is to raise X amount of dollars from X number of people, and you hit that goal and you think you're done, then you're wasting an opportunity, because you've just created a social network, a community of people who've given you money once. And now you can figure out ways to get them to do other things for you, to engage them, to make them an ongoing community. The way I look at it is you run from a campaign to mobilize people to a community that you can rely on for a lot of different things, as well as not just the things you ask them for, but things they come up with on their own. And that's how you ultimately build a movement, right? You can't get to a movement if it's always just a series of discrete asks. And so one of the things that social has done to revolutionize online strategy is it's now a way to create a community and potentially a movement around your content, around your mission, around your organization or campaign, in a way that you could never do with just a website.